buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slide, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, it's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens, and I think this is March the 3rd. I think. I did. I got it. Good for me. Anyways, welcome to the show. I kind of like these 1 hour shows, you know. They're kind of like quick. And my freaking mic keeps falling down here. Stay put. There we go. Anyways, we all know police are agents of the state. We know their job is to protect the state. We know their job is to steal from the citizens of the state to give to their bosses. There's a lot of good things to be said about the police. I'm thinking of one right now. I'll come up with it later, I'm sure. You know, in the old days, the people, the men and the women, and even the kids, they policed each other. There wasn't much policing to do because, well, you could do pretty much anything you wanted. Go where you want, sit where you want, swim where you want, fish where you want, hike where you want. No fees attached. No fines. So the crime rate was very low. So we didn't need police. So if you look back through history, the police are just another one of these war on things, right? They false crisis is that we have all this crime, just like they needed licenses to travel around in an automobile. Millions of people are being killed by these things. We must license them. Always create some kind of a hype situation that you can deal with. So, but overall, the police, they're hired because they're tough. Don't mess with the police. Why, if you're a young kid standing on a streetcar or a bus, can't remember which was a streetcar or a bus, I think it was a bus, the police are tough. They can shoot you 9 times for your little penknife. So that keeps us safe, of course. Bullets flying all over the frickin' place, and a dead kid. But just to prove how tough police are, I see a story here. Toronto police call for backup. Police say droppings pose a threat to their safety. Well, that could be a problem. Now, what would it be that was dropping that poses a threat to their safety? Their safety, mind you, and it's all about safety, isn't it? Especially the boys in blue. We got to keep them safe, so they got time to run around, beat you, steal from you, interrogate you, intimidate you. Just generally be a pain in the ass. No, what's really got the Toronto police calling for backup, and what's posing a threat to their safety? Barn swallows. That's right. That's right. Not heavily armed ISIS, not the sword swinging or machete swinging Islamists. Nope. The police somehow are fearing for their safety because of barn swallows. It just kills me. Now, we're going to go through this a little bit because there's a couple things in this I want to just attach to each other here. Toronto police are bringing reinforcements in an ongoing battle to rid their boathouse of winged invaders they say pose a threat to officers and possibly the public safety. Barn swallows. For years, the Force's Marine Unit has struggled to deal with an infestation of barn swallows which nest in the boathouse and leave it covered in droppings. The birds are a protected species that cannot be disturbed during nesting season. Moving their nest requires permission from the Provincial Ministry of Natural Resources. We're talking about freaking barn swallows. But now that they're protected, you have to have permission. In a letter to city officials last year, the Toronto Police Services Board called for prompt action on what it called an issue with potential impacts on operational resources and public safety, as well as on the health and safety of members of the Marine Unit. Barn swallows. Now, barn swallows are a pretty small little bird, and they flit around pretty quick. I ain't never felt unsafe because there was a pile of barn swallows around. They're actually quite cool to watch. But I don't recall ever feeling threatened by barn swallows. It doesn't matter how many of them there are. And I've been in some pretty heavily, I don't want to say infested, but areas with a lot of barn swallows. Barn swallows, they usually run in groups. Anyways, these guys hanging around at the boathouse are worried about the public safety as well as on the health of the safety of the members of the Marine Unit. Oh, they used the word infestation. The infestation necessitates costly cleaning operation and utilizes the resources of the unit unnecessarily, the letter said. If you can have an adverse effect on it can have an adverse effect on public safety, as it can at times impede emergency response due to the need to remove bird feces from boats and equipment. Barn swallows. Hey, patrol boat 1, can you go and respond to this? No, man, the barn swallows. Somebody save us. Send in some kind of unit in here into the boathouse because we're pinned down. Damn barn swallows. They got us pinned right to the seats of the boat. Then we bought them. We bought these dicks, a whole bunch of fancy boats, fancy boathouse, fancy uniforms, but we forgot the brain. And what's the most important part of any man, I would think, would be his brain. But these people apparently don't have one. They're afraid of barn swallows. And they somehow think that if they got to go on a rescue mission, that a barn swallow dump on the hood of the boat will impede them. This is how ludicrous media has become. Birds are slated to stay for one more season. Now here comes some more of your tax dollars being spent. A new 3-year project set to begin this month aims to find the birds a new home and discourage them from returning to their current nesting grounds, a spokesman for the city said. Officers will have to deal with their unwelcome guests at least another season. However, the first year of the project consists mainly of consulting with experts and surveying the barn swallow population. Natcha Hines Fitzsimmons said in an email, well, yeah, we want to spend some cash. Next year, an alternative nesting site will be set up within a kilometer of the boathouse as laid out in the ministry's requirements. So you have to, when you move the birds, you have to keep them within that kilometer range of where you found them. Well, where are they going to end up at? I don't know. I'm thinking back where they wanted to be in the first place, at the boathouse. But we're going to spend, I don't know what they're going to spend on these experts and everything else to try to convince the barn swallows that they should stay a kilometer away from the boathouse. And these are the experts. Next year, an alternative nesting, existing nests will also be removed and additional measures taken to deter the birds from returning, she said. How are you going to deter the birds from coming? Now, if you're using some kind of, signal or noise signal or whatever it is you're using, that disturbs their natural habitat. So the very people who say they're the experts in that, in order to protect the birds, are looking for some way to keep them from coming back to where they found them. Maybe, what if they are homing swallows? They will always come home to the boathouse. The last year will be spent surveying the birds to see how they respond to change. Sounds kind of like a Obama deal or a UN thing, like we are change. And if you don't think we are change is not the UN, you got some digging to do yet. So last year we spent surveying the birds to see how they respond to change. Now, these brave people are going to relocate the birds, and they're going to survey them and all this kind of stuff. Yet the police feel that they could be injured by them because they're brave people, the police are. The modifications to the nesting situation will need to be monitored year after year. More of your money. That's not just, money's a fake deal anyways. But what they're doing is they're taking your labor from you and giving it to these dicks, because they don't do anything, they don't produce nothing. And they will monitor them year after year to determine the success of the nesting relocation and barn swallow population, says the expert. Why don't you close the doors to the boathouse? Is a headline. Closing the doors, ? Well, that didn't work. Well, why would that be? In the meantime, she said, the best course of action to reduce chance of bird infestation has been and continues to keep the doors closed, especially during periods of bird migration. Well, Robert Duncan, a program coordinator for the Toronto Police Occupational Health and Safety Unit, said that was the first thing they looked at, but it didn't work. They're quite small birds. Maybe that's why the police are afraid of them. They're so small. There's one now. Maybe they're too small for them to shoot at because I don't know, it's very good shots. They're quite small birds, and unfortunately, because the water levels fluctuate, I wonder if that's from global warming. I don't know. The birds were just getting underneath the doors even when they're fully dropped, he said. The other problem, of course, is that because oh God. The other problem, of course, is that because they're an emergency response unit, having the doors closed can slow down the response to an emergency call. So that's a public safety consideration we had to make. He said police don't want to harm the birds, just evict them. Why don't you leave the birds there and you go away? Okay? Because the birds, I don't recall ever in my life ever hearing about barn swallows giving anybody a hard time or harming them or least of all shooting them or beating them unconscious or, all the rest of the things that these police do. Barn swallows, I've watched them pin cats to the ground, which is kind of humorous. A barn swallow is a pretty cool little bird. The police, on the other hand, have made another case that they're stupid. Another case that the experts are stupid. Another case that we're paying a whole bunch of dickweeds that don't do anything. And that all comes out of your labor. Because your taxes, they tax your labor. And your labor goes to pay these dicks. And you might want to complain to somebody about that. But the funny part of this stuff is all of this junk is written by lawyers. Right? It's all written by lawyers. All of the rules, regulations, permissions, all of that stuff is written by lawyers. And they make up the most retarded stuff, and it negatively impacts, well, in this case, the birds. They always negatively impact something or someone. That's what lawyers are for. Anyways, let's see what we got here. Is that even in here? Is a story here? You always notice propaganda always works with the idea of repetition. And I think on Tuesday's show, I did a bit of a story about assisted suicide or euthanasia. And this story, where'd this story go? It's missing now. Maybe somebody is getting a little ticked off at all this stuff. Well, maybe this will bring this story up. Here we go. Here we have another one. Let's see here. Yeah, terminally ill trial man applies for doctor-assisted death. So he wants to die. He's in a lot of pain, I guess. Who's only identified by his initials AB, will have his application heard by the Toronto Superior Court later this month. The 80-year-old man says he's in the advanced stages of an aggressive lymphoma, diagnosed in 2012. I'm suffering intolerable pain and distress that cannot be eliminated, he says in an affidavit. The case is believed to be the first of its kind in Ontario. Earlier this week, a Calgary woman suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease ended her life in Vancouver with the help of 2 doctors after she was granted the kind of legal exemption that AB is seeking. She is believed to be the first person in Canada outside of Quebec to be allowed legally to end her life with the help of a doctor. Her identity was also protected by court-ordered publication ban. The applicant wants identity protected. Okay, that's fine. So this is what we're running into here now. They always make a case for something, right? Case to end smoking, case for the renewable energy. And once they get onto it, right, you don't hear anything about wind anymore, hardly. Probably don't hear anything about it. They've accomplished their goal. So they move on to the next goal. Okay? They flood the media with the experts. You know, experts believe that 20 windmills will replace 2,000 cars on the road. Wow, people say. You know, I mean, it's and if you oppose it, oh, God forbid you should oppose it. You know, when the windmills were going up, you were called NIMBYs. With the global warming, you're being called deniers, right? It's time we get onto this sort of language that they use. The College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario has issued a interim directive to its members that if a doctor is unwilling to help a patient die for conscious or religious reasons, that doctor must refer the patient to a doctor who is willing to assist. Okay, so what they're saying here is very important because what they're saying is that if a doctor is unwilling to help a patient die for conscious or religious reasons, would be the right reasons, that the doctor must refer the patient to a doctor who is willing to assist, meaning this particular doctor obviously has no conscious and no religious reasons. Bring them on, right? So they're working on this. I mean, it's going to be pretty normal. They normalize this stuff, right? And that's what they do. You know, was it normal? If somebody had suggested 30 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, that little children should be taught that they're sexual beings from the moment they're born, and we'd want to show you how to be sexual in grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, in the old days, before people were so totally fluoridated and that, there would have been a friggin' uprising. You know, these people would have been jailed, shot, hung. You don't do that to a child. Yeah. Now it's just like being normalized. And that sucks. You know, we've really gone down bad. I mean, we've really, I don't even know how to say it. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves, really, that we just let this stuff continue to crawl over top of us. I mean, it's really quite sickening to think that none of this stuff moves us anymore. None of this stuff bothers us anymore. Oh yeah, we'll complain a little, right? You know, but more than likely, whatever the media tells them is, well, it's good enough for us, isn't it? Yeah, it's really weird. So we're getting an agreement to a framework on climate change because, of course, it's real. It's very real. They plan no specifics on carbon pricing. Justin Trudeau says carbon pricing is one tool in the fight against climate change. You might want to rephrase that. Justin Trudeau is one tool. Is just one tool. The man is a complete tool, and he's our leader. Our leader. He's the one that's going to save us from climate change. He's the one that's going to help build the mosques. You know, he's a pretty important guy. Well, this is interesting. So, I didn't know this. Pope Francis's bishop for Syrian refugees in Canada has family ties to a Liberal member of Parliament. Well, it doesn't really sound that odd. The federal government's commitment to fast-track the resettlement of 25,000 Syrian refugees caught the attention of Pope Francis, who has appointed a new bishop in Canada. The Vatican announced the appointment of Reverend Antony Nessif from Lebanon as its first apostolic exarch to lead Syriac Catholics in Canada early in the next year. The recently ordained bishop happens to be a distant cousin of Liberal MP Eva Nafzis, who represents the riding of Amiens Laval, Quebec. But if you go through a lot of this stuff, this is important. If you go through a lot of this stuff, you find these people are all interrelated somehow, right? And we need to get them off the land. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon excited. He's excited that Canada is ready to play a leadership role. Canada's refugee resettlement plan gets high marks from ex-UN refugee agency head. Justin Trudeau says he'll engage Pope on apology for church's role in residential schools. But this is, we're ready. We're ready, folks, right here in the land of the North. We are absolutely ready. And we should be excited as he is. When a UN chief gets this excited, well, we ought to be excited as well. Canada ready to play a leadership role. Ahead of his first visit to Canada since the election of Justin Trudeau, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said he's excited by the potential of what he sees as Canada's renewed engagement in multiculturalism on issues such as climate change and possibly peacekeeping. I am very much excited by such a strong commitment from Prime Minister Trudeau, said Ban in an exclusive interview with CBC's, that's the Communist Broadcasting Corporation, Radio is the Current this week. I would like to reinforce and strengthen such a partnership. The UN Secretary General and the Prime Minister said they discussed climate change, peacekeeping, and the refugee crisis, among other topics, at a morning meeting. The two were scheduled to attend other events together, including a dinner in Ban's honor. Although the invitation was extended by Canadian officials, it's clear the UN is pleased with the rhetoric coming out of Ottawa these days, including the Prime Minister's recent announcement that he wants to restore Canada's voice and leadership role in the UN. The UN is hoping that language will take on a more concrete form as a result of the visit. Ban points to the Paris Agreement on climate change as an example of Canada's interest in helping build international consensus, saying Trudeau generated a lot of political force and awareness leading up to the historic record. Ban says he hopes Trudeau will be among the world leaders putting pen to paper at a signing ceremony at UN headquarters on April 22nd, meant to kickstart the legal implementation of the agreement. So the UN also wants Canada back in the peacekeeping game. That's why Hervé Dos, the head of the UN peacekeeping operations, will be accompanying Ban on this trip. Ladouce will meet with Trudeau, but will also have similar meetings with the officials of the Department of National Defense, according to UN official familiar with the itinerary. So, we are just going down the sewer hole. You know, the Canada is worth emulating. This trip will mark Ban's fifth and likely final visit to Canada as his term in office ends in December. This happening at a time when the UN is dealing with an unprecedented number of conflicts and crises, as Ban has repeatedly said, as well as a continuing criticism of UN's relevance. Ban says Trudeau's enthusiasm for recommitting to the ideals and goals of the United Nations is welcome. Canada is one of the founding members of the world body, but diplomats say its status at the UN was diminished under former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, who often chose to skip the annual General Assembly, as well as other high-level gatherings, including the UN Climate Summit. So you might really hate Harper. But one of the reasons that Harper wouldn't have been going to those meetings, okay, was to get the attention of people in these, where's our prime minister? Why isn't Harper there? That creep. Too bad, the Liberals weren't in. They'd be there. Well, of course they would. That's their role. Okay, that's their role. That's that wing of the bird. So in order to play up the Liberals, you have to denounce the Conservatives. And if Harper was going to all the meetings, then there'd be nothing controversial about it. And that's how they play the people. Harper's just a puppet, just like Trudeau. He goes where he's told to go when he's told to go there. One aspect of Canada's current foreign policy that is drawing much debate is the government's decision to withdraw its fighters' jets from the coalition bombing mission in Iraq and Syria. When asked about it, the UN chief said it was not his place to comment on Trudeau's decision, but Ban was full of praise for Canada's plan to resettle all these refugees. Ban said he would like to see other countries emulate the kind of compassionate leadership shown by the Prime Minister. Well, the media is a funny dog, When all the refugees were going into places like Sweden and Finland, Germany and all these, Greece, it was big news, until it turned on them. Okay, so they're, look at Sweden. Look what Sweden's doing. Look what Denmark's doing, right? People, look, they're so welcoming and they're so friendly. Well, look at some Swedish videos now and see what you got. So they ignore what they don't want you to see, and they play up what they do want you to see. And it always ends in a disaster, because that's what the UN's about, creating disasters and, removing the nation state. So UN officials say Ban will also raise the issue of funding for the UN Relief and Works Agency. That would be more money out of your pocket into their pocket, which helps Palestinian refugees in Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria, after a high of $32 million in funding in 2007. Canada stopped contributing entirely in 2013. That would be the Harper years. Yay, Liberals. Following the joint press conference on Parliament Hill this afternoon, the two leaders will travel to Catholic Centre for Immigrants in Ottawa, where they will meet newly arrived Syrian refugees. They will be joined there by UN's humanitarian and aid chief, Stephen O'Brien, as well as the UN's youth envoy, can't pronounce his name. Anyways, this guy says that Trudeau's, just a second here. I think we have a call. Probably somebody give me a hard time for reading the news, eh? Yeah, hello, caller?
Hello.
Hello.
This is Ron Stevens.
It was last time I checked. Who's this?
My name is Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. And you?
Good, man. Good, thanks.
Wait a minute. Are you Canadian? American?
I'm Canadian.
Because you don't sound Japanese.
I'm from Brampton, Ontario.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're not East Indian either.
I'm not.
Well, what are you doing in Brampton? You one of those.
I was born here. I was born here, Ron.
Yeah. I know. How is it?
Pretty segregated, I would say.
Is it segregated?
A good way to describe it, I think. In some respects, yeah. You kind of caught me off guard there because I wasn't exactly sure how the show works here, and I'm assuming obviously it's pre-recorded, this one. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get on live or how any of this works, but I've been listening to your show for about the last week. I caught it. I don't even know how I came across it, but am I right about that?
Well, I don't know how I came across it either, actually. I just started doing these things long time ago, and I'm still doing them. But, yeah, it's I don't know how you got here. I'm glad you got here, though.
No, what I'm wondering, though, is it always pre-recorded, or do you do a live show ever, or how does that work?
Yeah, this is live now. Has to be live because we're talking. Right?
Oh, okay.
There's probably segregated people in Brampton listening to you right now. Yeah, no, all the shows are live here. That's why I like.
Okay.
That's why I like UCY TV. Good little network.
I wanted to ask you about what is your opinion of the story that's just come out in the last few weeks that the province of Ontario is creating an anti-racism directorate. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, we need one, don't we? This
apparently.
Well, no. This is the way it always works, right? You know, this is what they do. They take things and they stuff them in your face, and then they make some committee so that you can't complain about it. You know, I mean, and I you know, you don't sound gay. I don't even know what gay people sound like, but they did the same thing with the gay movement, right? Okay, when they brought it out. As hard as they did, if you said anything about it, then you were obviously a nasty person. And at the same time, I remember a story a few years back where an old Christian couple had a house for rent, or an apartment in the house for rent. And a couple of gay guys wanted to go rent the apartment. And this Christian couple says, I don't think so, right? And the amount of garbage that got raised over that is that you don't say anything, right? And now they're going to do this with the Syrians and that. Yeah. So, and we got to push back on that crap, man. We can't put up with that. If you want to come here, you come here. I'd assume you didn't, but if you're going to come here, then you assimilate. If you can't assimilate, then hit the road, Jack.
It's interesting how terrified we are of offending anyone.
Well, this is the one of the biggest problems of the West. Period.
No doubt.
And you know, you look in Britain, but this again. The school system does this to people, right?
Oh yeah.
When they're going to move, when they're going to move an agenda, they will take that lower grades and run them up through. So that what would not be normal to you is normal to them when they come out of school, and they don't see it; they see it just as normal. I don't know if you've ever seen the video by Yuri Brezhnev or whatever his name is. He was a Russian cable.
Bezmenov.
Yeah,
the former KGB guy. Defected to Canada, right?
I mean that's it, right? That's it.
I've watched everything I could find of that guy. Yeah, actually.
And my attitude is this to all of it. Okay, say what you mean and mean what you say. Period. And if someone is offended by it, then walk away. Not you, the one that's offended. Yeah,
exactly.
And they've got it backwards, right? They got it completely backwards. Well, they're telling you what you can and can't say.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's what I was trying to get at, asking you about this directorate. I mean, how do you think this will bode for free speech in Ontario?
Well, right now you really don't have any free speech.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to go get it back, right? I mean, I had a police chief here phone me one day. And he says, you know what your problem is? I said, didn't know I had one. What's up? And he said, well, you're diametrically opposed to what 99% of the community think. Really? You poll everybody? Because I didn't get a call, right?
Yeah, well, and also most of the community, you know, they have recycled, contrived, fabricated opinions. It's their opinions are not based
their
on
opinions. That's
exactly.
That's the problem. It's not their opinion.
Yes, exactly. It's how they've been domesticated.
When they
believe
brought
these things.
exactly. When they brought the windmills up through rural Ontario here, right? These people know nothing about it, and they're wandering around going, "Oh, what do you think about the windmills? Oh, I think they're great. They're clean green energy. Really? What do you know about them? Nothing. But it's just
what I heard from CBC.
Yeah. I can't pick up a magazine. I can't turn on the radio. I can't turn on the TV without being inundated with the propaganda. Now, like a friend of mine down there, and if Ducks listen, down at Kingston, this idea of throwing the armed forces off the base in Trenton out of their houses because the Syrians don't want to live in a motel. Right? And then, now that we have the base, let's build a mosque. And people don't speak out about that garbage. Right?
Yeah, I'm quite conflicted on the whole refugee thing because, I understand the motivations behind it. They want to tell us that it's about goodwill and all this other crap. But, if you do a little bit of research, you know that it's about redistribution of populations and a number of other things. But, at the same time,
one of the big things,
at the same time, we're responsible for putting these people out of their homes.
Well, so there you go, right? That's why you're conflicted, right?
Yeah, right? I want to help these people, but to think that the politicians are actually acting out of goodwill is absurd. If they had any goodwill at all, they'd be helping homeless people here before they bring in refugees.
Right. So yeah, the politicians on the one hand are absolutely responsible for blowing the hell out of these countries. But what was the reason they're blowing the hell out of the countries? Okay, is to create refugees on purpose to come here and in the West. And the reason they're doing it, the prime reason they're doing it, there's people been in camp since they were born. They were building an army here, okay, a migrant army. And the whole point of that migrant army, okay, is to, and it doesn't matter if you're religious or not, but I've been saying this forever, and it's the absolute truth. In order to bring the West down, they have to get rid of two things. The American Constitution, which is already shredded to rats, and Christianity, because that's where our law comes from, okay? So they're taking our law away. And I'm not talking about legal. I'm talking about our moral law away. And
that's right.
And replacing it with their moral law. That's the loss of everything, okay? That's it. That's the loss of everything. And we got to push back. And if you say that to a Christian, if I say that to a Christian, they'll go, well, but we're supposed to help people. Well, you're not really supposed to help the people that want you dead, right?
Exactly.
That's a little
just
stupid.
To completely destroy your values.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How old are you, if I can ask?
I'm 29.
Oh, thank you. Because my attitude is that we got to go from you guys backwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we got to get the kids, right?
Well, I wouldn't. I would prefer people at 15, at 10 or 15 would have a better understanding of this stuff to maybe close to a level that I do at the age of practically 30. It's not early enough, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The school system, the public school system, is a formal abuse camp. Okay, it is used specifically to abuse the children and shape their minds for the agendas they wish to bring forward in a generation or something. So when the students get out, it's all normal. Like when the little kids, long before they brought the windmills here, the little kids were watching windmills go around on cartoon shows on Saturday morning. Little wee kids. So when they got here and they went, this was before they ever went to school.
That's right.
Then they go into school, and the school starts explaining why what they watched on the cartoon show makes sense, and then they come up and they haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, completely contrived, quote unquote opinion.
Yeah. And, no, last time I was in Toronto, I had to go to Toronto. They were having a thing put on for. Oh, they had all the consensus tables and everything, and it was about wind energy. And,
right. Right.
When I haven't been in Toronto a long time, and when I was a kid, right, like 16, 17, we go down to Toronto, have a good time, and it was basically working people, white working people. But I mean, when I say white, I mean Scottish, Irish, Italian, Greek,
sure. Sure.
West, right? And they
European.
And the people I met when I worked in kids in different places is that these communities, they had their own what we call it, meeting halls in that, right? For their heritage, in that, right? We call my town hall in that, and they would go and eat their their special foods or whatever, and hang out with their people, and probably continue with their. But when they were out, okay, in the general population, we were all the same, right? There was no you can't look at me crooked attitude, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Pollock, what are you doing? Hey, you greasy bugger! I don't, I mean, it was just the slang, right? And nobody took offense to it because it wasn't said in a manner, right?
Well, it's just
But they're forcing this on us now, right? And last time I was in Toronto, I thought, man, I really don't need to come to this place anymore. I don't recognize the place.
Full of Marxists, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've been in Brampton all your life, or not?
Yes, I have.
Oh, have you? So you must have witnessed a huge difference over the years coming in from when you were even a kid.
Definitely, yeah. Immigration definitely ramped up, but I'm not really old enough to remember when that wasn't a thing in Brampton, right?
Yeah,
I was like that for quite a long time, right? But I mean, don't get me wrong. One of my best friends right now is East Indian. I'm not in any way against any specific group of people or anything like that. But like I said, I'm conflicted on a lot of this stuff because I can see the deception and the reasons they're saying they're doing this stuff, and they're saying it's being done at a goodwill, and I would like it to be being done at a goodwill. However, I know otherwise, right? So.
Yeah, but why don't the other people get that? I mean, so many people don't get that. They don't ask simple questions like, "Oh, look, they want us to bring all these Syrians in, or wherever from. It doesn't matter, right?" And aren't we a kind country? Well, when you're watching, like they're bombing the snot out of these people. Do you ever stop and say why?
No, we don't question that. No.
What is that? That's a total disconnect, right?
Yeah, well, if it's not on a major network, it doesn't exist.
That's the problem. That's the very biggest
for
problem.
most people. Yeah, I mean, and as much as I'd like to be angry at these people, I really can't blame them, right? Like, this is how we're trained, and
yes, but they're trained to. The bomb has been going on there forever, right? Just pick a country and slaughter the hell out of them, right? And
ever since I can remember,
the whole time they're building hate, right? And then
demonizing whoever they're bombing. Yeah.
And then they bring those they bring those people who've been bombed to the countries that they're mad at them for bombing them. Well, you're going to run into problems somewhere. You're really you ain't got a choice in this. You're going to run into a problem.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do. You ever watch that old movie Soylent Green?
No, but I know the gist of it. Yeah.
It's just the farther we go along, the more relevant that thing gets, right? It really does. It really truly does. I mean, it's we got the we were pushing green energy. we were pushing the immigration. We were pushing multiculturalism. I don't even know how many letters in that. The gay GT. I don't even know what letters are in there. Gay, lesbian thing now. They seem to added transgendered or something.
Yeah. There's a number of different denominations in there.
And so all of these things that I would consider not normal, they normalize in the children.
Yeah.
Right? And can you imagine being a little kid? Like, you're not that old. I mean, you were in school not that god awful long ago. I mean, how would you handle, you and your bud are walking down the hallway or something, and your bud kicks off into the girls' washroom or something. And so, what the hell are you doing? I feel like a lady today, bro. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
I use that washroom. I mean, how messed up is that?
You know what? I don't have any sort of prejudice against any sort of sexuality either. However, I don't agree with filling kids' heads with these ideas because they don't have the comprehension to not get completely confused and just their mind screwed up from it.
No. See, I don't have. I think I'm a lot like you. Okay, I am not a racist person in any way, shape, or form. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. I can't help you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay. So I don't go on this on the individual basis, right? What I do is when they move these things in waves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you say anything negative about it, okay, then you're a problem.
That's a tactic. Yeah, you get labeled a bigot or a homophobe, or like what did Kathleen Wynne say when people were criticizing the changes to the sex ed? She called them homophobes.
Yeah. And it's when they were
right in your face, right? Like no debate to be had, nothing. No, you're just a homophobe.
No. Well, if you don't believe in climate change, you're a denier. If you don't believe in windmills stuck beside your house, you're a NIMBY, right? They just take these simple little words or terms, and then you're a conspiracy theorist. What?
Oh yeah. Ever since Kennedy's assassination, anyone who asks questions is a kook. Or whatever they want to call you, yeah.
Well, I was talking to a guy from the Law Society of Upper Canada one time, and it's hard to get in there to talk to these guys, and I
don't doubt it, yeah.
And it said it's illegal to practice law without a license, and I said, that's a gibberish sentence, and he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, read it. It's illegal to practice law without a license. That doesn't make any sense. As if it's going to make sense, it's going to say it's unlawful to practice law without a license. And he's going to say, what? I said, this is the mixing the terms. Legal is similar to like, but not law. Legal and law are like, or they're totally separate. You can't mix them. And so we talked for a while, and he asked me, he said, how do you think like this? Simple, ask a question, go find an answer, and it'll get you to another question. Go find another answer, right? You figure it out.
Yeah.
But after a while, this guy no kidding, the guy at the Law Society says, holy crap, do you know what this means? And I go, yeah, but also understand why you didn't understand it first off, because you came into the Law Society or to go to school, and you just believed what you were told. Okay, you didn't ask any questions. And if you do ask questions, maybe the teacher looks down his nose at you, and you don't want to get in trouble. Yeah. You just want to get your marks, get your certificate or whatever, and get the hell out of there, right?
You get labeled disruptive.
Yeah.
You get put on drugs or whatever.
Right. So they can teach you pretty much anything they want to teach you, and you will believe it. And that's, I think, our biggest single failure is our unwillingness to push, right? Says, well, I don't want to answer that. Well, I don't care, right? You have a duty to answer it.
It's tough, right? Because I was put on Ritalin as a kid, right? And I think it was probably quite solely just because I like to ask a lot of questions. Well, at least that's how it started. I always wanted to question everything, and that's not allowed. This new form of education, right?
Yeah, I would have been the Ritalin poster boy. I mean, I'm sure I dropped out of my mother on the floor. asking questions. I'm positive. But
yeah. I mean, I was sent to the fucking office so many times for just for raising my hand, basically.
Yeah. And that's because you're challenging what they don't want that out. But I had a teacher, and I love this. I had a teacher in grade, I don't know what it was, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there, and I'd been just hammered all the way through school for asking questions, and I could never figure it out what the problem was with answering a question, right? And I was starting to think that I was doing something wrong. And then I got into that class, and our teacher actually said this, never believe anything you read, see, or hear until you personally verify it. Failure to do so opens your mind to accepting all manner of propaganda and outright lies as truth. And that's what your school system is designed to do.
They would not be allowed to. Nobody better get caught saying that today. That's all I have to say, because they're going to lose their job.
Yeah, I had a teacher on this show once, and he was damn concerned when he came on. And but the beauty of it is, he got back to me a few days later. I really enjoyed that show. I've been chasing teachers, and we were talking a bit, and he said, I was scared shitless coming on your show. And but he's
and I don't
after that I got thinking about it, and I made a decision. I said, what's your decision? I'm not going to lie to the kids anymore. And I thought, man, you just put a bullet in your career. But
wow.
It's what you have to do. If you know
you got integrity.
Yeah, if you don't have integrity, then how the hell could you be a teacher? I mean,
good point. Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, what's your first name again?
Alex.
Alex, I really enjoyed that, Alex. I really, truly did.
I enjoyed talking to you too, Ron.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about your ideas about this newspaper. I don't know how much you want to get into that on the air, or if we have time or whatnot, but...
We've got about 2 minutes.
Crap.
Which newspaper? The one I've been yammering on about?
Well, you're just encouraging anyone really, to just start their own...
That's the answer. That is the answer.
Yeah.
It is a huge answer. But listen, we got to get out of here pretty quick. I wouldn't mind. I do a show Saturday night on UC, or not UCY, but Revolution Radio. But I do another show here on UCY on Sunday from noon till 2. And if you're available, call in and we'll talk this out. Maybe we'll get some other people involved in it. Right?
I'd hope so.
Hammer out the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
Like you fight the media with the media. And I hate to break it to anybody, but the internet, throwing memes up on Facebook and that, if a guy sees it's a Switzerland, likes it, it ain't going to help your cause where your feet are.
Well, you're basically preaching the converted once you're on the internet, because the person's really going to have to go and search for it if they want to find anything like that, right?
Right. And
it's not the same as dropping something on their doorstep.
99% of the people, I'm convinced of it, in your neighborhood have no idea what the hell's going on yet. They're getting something's wrong. Our job is to bring it to them in such a fashion it doesn't freak them out. It doesn't look like conspiracy theory, and that helps them start to ask their own questions.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories on, all these euthanasia stories and that, right? Mm-hmm. Why all of a sudden all this stuff? Well, through that you can explain it to them in a calm idea in their own home, where they can go to the coffee shop and talk to their friend and see if they read the same thing. Yeah, because the guy that gets it off the internet and goes and talks to his friend that doesn't go on the internet, they go, "What are you, a nutcase?" Right?
Yeah.
We got to bring it to them somehow. We really do. So maybe you can call in Sunday or something. We'll get a big discussion going on this.
All right, Ron.
Anyways, I think we're going to hit some notes here pretty darn quick. So I think
I'm just waiting for that tune to kick in.
Me too. So I really do thank you for calling in and say hi to Brandon.
I will, Ron, and I think I probably will speak with you on Sunday.
I appreciate that. You have yourself a great day. Okay, thanks.
You take care too, Ron.
We're out of time, and we'll be back sometime. Everybody take care. And thanks, Alex.